Have you ever wondered why K-pop doesn't just feel like a music genre, but a whole experience? Like once you're in, there's no way out. It keeps pulling you back in. It's designed to be so immersive that it practically becomes part of your life. But how does that happen? How does K-pop take over people's lives for better or worse? After World War II, Korea was liberated from Japanese colonial rule and split into two zones, the Soviet-occupied North and the American-occupied South. This eventually led to the formation of two separate nations, North Korea and South Korea. At the time of partition, South Korea's economy was in shambles. It was literally one of the poorest countries on earth. For context, in 1953, the year the Korean War ended, South Korea's GDP per capita was just $66. Compare that to North Korea at $175, Japan at $204, and the United States at over $2,200 during the same period. Yes, even North Korea was wealthier back then. It had industrialized, while the South was mostly agrarian, with limited infrastructure and an economy heavily dependent on farming. Fast forward to today, and the difference is mind-blowing. In 2023, South Korea's GDP per capita was approximately $35,563, surpassing even Japan. This insane transformation shows how South Korea rapidly developed into one of the world's top economies. And believe it or not, K-pop played a major role in that growth. If you look at South Korea's journey from a war-torn, aid-dependent nation to a global economic powerhouse, it's honestly fascinating. To sum it up, the government took the lead in industrialization during the 1960s under President Park Chung-hee. They invested in massive corporations known as chaebols like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG, shifting the economy's focus from agriculture to manufacturing and exports. By the 1980s, South Korea was competing with Japan and Western countries as a major exporter. But this didn't come easy. South Koreans worked insanely long hours for low wages in those early years, prioritizing education and economic growth. This entire period of rapid development is famously called the miracle on the Han River. During this period of economic growth, if you look at what people were watching and listening to, it tells a whole different story. The South Korean government was strongly against foreign cultural influence, especially from the West. They tightly controlled media and culture to maintain national identity and social order. As a K-pop fan, you've probably heard people say that South Korea is a conservative and culturally homogeneous society, and there are many reasons for that. But one of the biggest factors was the early strict censorship policies. Foreign music, movies, and books that were seen as a threat to South Korean values were banned. TV and radio were heavily censored. President Park Chung-hee himself stated that South Korea should be more selective and discriminatory in absorbing foreign cultural influences. It wasn't just words. There was an official list of 261 banned songs. Even reported in the New York Times, music was screened. If you want to make a movie, you have to get a green pass from the government after submitting your script. International travel was also restricted. Ordinary citizens couldn't leave the country, meaning they had little exposure to foreign cultures. This generation, known as the 386 generation, who grew up under this strict, foreign influence-free environment shaped entirely by government-controlled media. Now, Park Chung-hee is often praised for the miracle on the Han River. But let's not forget, he led a military coup, overthrew a civilian government, and took control of the country. He ruled as an unelected military leader before officially becoming president in 1963. And while he undeniably contributed to South Korea's economic rise, after introducing the Yoshin Constitution, which gave him near absolute power, he started controlling everything. He used the Korean Central Intelligence Agency, KCI, which was infamous for spying on citizens and silencing opposition to maintain his grip on power. So yeah, while he helped build South Korea's economy, he also created a system where media, culture, and even personal freedoms were tightly controlled. Eventually, all that suppression sparked a demand for democracy. Many from the 386 generation emerged as pro-democracy activists. In October 1979, President Park was assassinated by Kim Jae-kyu, the head of the KCIA. Still, South Korea remained under military rule until 1987. When it finally transitioned to democracy, this shift was pivotal for K-pop and Korean media, influencing many of today's directors and the nation's biggest entertainment companies. For instance, when President Roh Tae-woo lifted the travel ban in 1989, ordinary citizens got their first taste of the outside world. They are called Generation X. Many famous and recognized directors are from the generation who got to travel, experience the other cultures, art, and media, and they brought back home ideas. This exposure had a huge impact on media and music, many paving the way for revolutionary acts like SEO Taiji and Boys. According to Professor Joanna Elfing Wang, Boys injected a fresh sound into the scene by blending rap, rock, and techno with English lyrics. Their innovative approach sparked a new fan culture that soon became a massive force in the music industry. While many credit BTS as the pioneers, the truth is that the first and second generations of K-pop idols laid the groundwork. BTS, along with groups like Blackpink, Stray Kids, and Twice, built on that foundation and took the genre to new heights. It all began in 1992 with SEO Taiji and Boys, a trio that redefined music. One of its members, Yang Hyun-suk, later founded YG Entertainment in 1996. That same year, HOT became the first official K-pop idol group, setting the blueprint for future boy bands. Soon after, first-generation girl groups like SES and FIN.KL, emerging in 1997 and 1998, helped shape the future of female acts. Groups and artists such as Shinhwa, God, and BoA then expanded K-pop's reach beyond Korea, with BoA becoming a huge sensation in Japan. And it wasn't coincidence. Government support played a key role in transforming K-pop into a billion-dollar industry. In 1993, when Jurassic Park became a major hit, the South Korean Presidential Advisory Board on Science and Technology presented a report to the president. They noted that the film's revenue from foreign sales was comparable to the sales of 1.5 million Hyundai cars, and Hyundai was national pride. This comparison was a wake-up call, convincing the government that culture, too, could be a powerhouse industry. After the 1997 IMF crisis nearly collapsed South Korea's economy, the government realized it needed new sources of revenue beyond heavy industries like automobiles and electronics, so they decided to export the culture. In 1998, President Kim Dae-jung declared culture a key industry and heavily funded entertainment. Aiming to transform K-pop and K-dramas into global products, several key measures soon followed. The introduction of the Cultural Industry Promotion Law funneled funding into music, TV, and film, and the creation of the Hallyu Support Center helped boost K-pop and dramas internationally, initially capturing neighboring Asian markets. The big three K-pop companies, SM Entertainment, founded in 1995, YG Entertainment, 1996, and JYP Entertainment, 1997, began as independent outfits, with government backing and the advantage of Korea's then lightning-fast internet in the 2000s. These companies expanded globally. Networks like KBS, MBC, and SBS started airing K-pop internationally, propelling artists like BoA, TVXQ, and Big Bang to stardom across Asia. Initially, K-pop became the driving force behind the Korean wave, or Hallyu. The second generation of idols groups such as TVXQ, Super Junior, Big Bang, Girls' Generation, Wonder Girls, Kara, SHINee, 2NE1, FX, and EXO made K-pop mainstream in Asia and laid the groundwork for global success. Then came the third generation, with acts like Gangnam Style became a worldwide phenomenon. BTS, Blackpink, Twice, 17, and NCT. They broke barriers in the West and became the global face of K-pop. I remember watching funny K-pop moment videos that piqued my curiosity. I started exploring their music and the vast array of content available, and eventually I became a K-pop fan. K-pop doesn't hit you like a tidal wave, it sneaks up on you. At first, you might just be curious, catching a song on TikTok or hearing a friend rave about their favorite group. You check out a music video, and before you know it, you're hooked, whether it's the infectious dance moves, vibrant visuals, or the quirky charm of a member. And here's the reality. Not everyone is drawn to K-pop solely for the music. Some stick around for the personalities, the style, or even the community that forms around a group. K-pop offers so many entry points. Before you even fully process the song, you're already staring at the screen, captivated. Then maybe you watch another, and another. At some point, you find yourself remembering the members' names, their nicknames, their ship names, even their pets' names. Before you know it, you're watching their interviews, reality shows, and behind-the-scenes content. And this is where K-pop really pulls you in, not just with the music, but with the illusion of closeness. K-pop thrives on the one-sided emotional bonds we form with idols. They are constantly in your face posting messages, Doing live streams, dropping vlogs, and filming reality shows that make you feel like you know them personally. And that's intentional. Agencies invest millions into shaping idols into relatable, lovable figures that feel like your friends, siblings, or even lovers. Dr. Zeynep Tufekci, a sociologist, explains, the more time you spend consuming content about someone, the more real they feel to you, even if you've never met them. At this point, K-pop isn't just a genre of music, it's a daily ritual. You wake up and check for new photos. You scroll through fan tweets, you watch dance TikToks, and it never lets you go. Every week, there's something new, a comeback teaser, a live broadcast, a new variety show clip. And then, if you step away for even a few days, you miss a ton. This is what makes K-pop feel inescapable. It's a continuous, evolving world that demands your attention. And this is what cultural export looks like. We start watching K-dramas, trying Korean food, using Korean skincare. And if you're like me, one day, you might even start a YouTube channel or a TikTok account just to talk about K-pop. Dr. Donna Rockwell, a clinical psychologist, explains. Dopamine plays a huge role in fandoms. Anticipation, waiting for a new song, a stream, or even a simple Instagram update gives your brain little dopamine hits. This cycle keeps you hooked. But here's the tricky part. When does passion turn into dependence? There's a fine line between loving something and feeling like you can't function without it. It becomes so unhealthy when it turns into your only source of happiness in a stressful life. Because at that point, K-pop isn't just entertainment anymore. It's an escape, a coping mechanism, even a lifeline for some fans. And then you hear stories like this: 3 Indian girls fled their homes with little money and no passports, trying to meet BTS in South Korea. In December 2024, another case surfaced. 3 minor girls staged their own abduction just to meet BTS. This happens when you fail to keep a balance. And I think most diehard fans have gone through that phase where K-pop becomes their whole identity. When that happens, stepping away starts to feel impossible. And it's not healthy. These are the same people who become toxic and aggressive online, taking everything deeply personal. In defending their faves, they tear others down. And honestly, in the last few years, the level of toxicity has become insane. It's mentally draining. People think they're fighting for something important, but in reality, they're just stressing themselves over things they should just enjoy. Some fans have admitted that K-pop started as an escape, but ended up making them feel worse. And if something that once made you happy is now making you miserable, is it really worth holding on to? K-pop can still be a positive part of your life if you let it be. It's all about finding balance, enjoying the things you love without letting them control you.